Hello and welcome. Today we're going to peek behind the curtain at the UK's tax engine, a single system that handles, well, hundreds of billions of pounds every single year. We're talking about HMRC's Enterprise Tax Management Platform, or ETMP for short.
Now, this whole discussion has been arranged by the experts over at Pro Tax Accountants, who really know their way around the UK's tax system. So, with that, let's dive right in.
All right, so let me kick things off with a question for you. Have you ever stopped to think what kind of, digital powerhouse it takes to manage a truly staggering 800 billion pounds in tax revenue every single year? Yeah, the answer is pretty incredible.
So what is this massive financial engine we're talking about? Well, let's pull back the curtain on the UK's digital tax hub.
It's called ETMP. That's the Enterprise Tax Management Platform. And really, the easiest way to think about it is as the strategic backbone for pretty much everything HMRC does with tax. It's like the central nervous system for the UK's entire tax collection system.
And the scale here is just immense. I mean, this one platform handles over 40 different kinds of taxes. It's used every single day by 40,000 HMRC staff. And maybe its biggest win? It replaced this whole messy tangle of old, disconnected systems, creating one single, unified hub for the very first time.
But technology never stands still, and a system this important can't afford to get left behind. That's why it's in the middle of a massive £444 million upgrade. And you're probably wondering why that's so crucial. Let's get into it.
Okay, so here's the real kicker. There's a deadline. The current system, which has been around since 2006, is going to lose its mainstream support in 2027. So this isn't just some minor software update, it's a complete migration from old, clunky infrastructure to a modern, cloud-based platform. This new setup promises to be way more resilient, much more secure, and, this is a big one, it'll allow for real-time data analysis. That's a huge leap forward.
And if you need one number to understand why this is so critical, here it is, 800 billion pounds. That is the amount of money flowing through the system every single year. I mean, if this thing went down, it would be a national-level crisis, no question.
So, what's the price tag for making sure this system is ready for the future? A cool 444 million pounds. It sounds like a lot, and it is, but it really just shows how absolutely vital this piece of infrastructure is. So, what do we get for that massive investment? Well, besides just being faster, it's actually projected to save about £7 million a year in software costs. And maybe most importantly, by moving to the cloud, it makes the whole system more flexible and ready for whatever the future throws at it. Okay, so that's the big picture stuff, right? The tech, the money, but how does all this tech actually affect you and your business? Well, this is where a little thing called making tax digital comes into play.
You really can't talk about tax in the UK today without talking about making tax digital, or MTD. And ETNP? It's the engine that makes the whole thing run. It's the platform that processes all those digital records and returns for MTD. And it's completely changing how millions of us handle our taxes.
So, what does MTD actually mean for you? Well, it really boils down to three simple things. First, you've got to keep digital records. Second, you have to use software that's MTD compliant, something that can talk directly to HMRC. And third, instead of that one big annual return, you'll be sending in regular updates, usually every quarter. Okay, theory is one thing, but let's make this real. Let's meet Sarah. She owns a cafe and is already using Making Tax Digital for her VAT returns. For Sarah, this shift has been a game changer. Her accounting software connects straight into the ETMP system. Her VAT gets calculated automatically right from her digital sales records. And when it's time to file, she just reviews it and submits her quarterly return in a couple of clicks. The bottom line for her? Way less paperwork, fewer mistakes, and more time to actually run her business.
All right, let's take a look at another common scenario. This is John. He's a freelancer, and he's getting himself ready for the next big phase of this whole thing, making tax digital for income tax self-assessment.
So for John, and honestly for millions of other self-employed folks, the process is going to look a lot like Sarah's pretty soon. He'll use software to track his income and expenses as they happen. Then, every quarter, he'll send a quick summary update to HMRC through ETMP. The huge advantage here is that he gets a real-time idea of what his tax bill's looking like. So, no more of that horrible end-of-year tax surprise. It just makes planning your finances so much easier.
Now, this whole digital shift is meant to make things simpler, but it definitely comes with new responsibilities. So for this last part, let's talk about compliance, what happens if you get it wrong, penalties, and where you can turn for help.
HMRC has a penalty system to make sure everyone stays on track. And it's pretty straightforward, but it can get costly if you slip up. You can get penalties for filing late, for paying late, and of course for submitting a return that isn't accurate. Which, of course, leads to the big question, right? With all these changes, this new digital system and these penalties, how can you possibly make sure you stay compliant and just feel confident about it all?
And this really gets to the heart of it. Just because the system is simpler, that doesn't mean taxes are simple. The UK tax code is still incredibly complex, and let's be honest, trying to figure it all out on your own can be completely overwhelming. Look, getting this digital shift right, from picking the best software to making sure you're in the best tax position, it's absolutely key. If you're feeling like you could use some expert guidance through all this, the team at Pro Tax Accountant can help you navigate ETMP, making tax digital, and really every part of your tax journey. All their contact info is right there on the screen for you. Thanks so much for tuning in.